Hey guys, this is Chris with Geek on Tech, and today we're going to be talking about if it makes sense to get the iPhone SE 2022. Let's jump right into this. This is going to be a juicy one. And alright guys, first off, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. We have surpassed 500 subscribers. We will be doing a celebration at 1,000 subscribers. I'm not 100% sure exactly what it is yet. I'm thinking about doing the one chip challenge, but let me know, what do you guys think I should do at 1,000 subscribers? Leave your comment down below. Please don't forget to like. Make sure, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date with the newest tech that's coming out, newest cell phones coming out. And if you enjoy unboxings and just some knowledge on somebody who has a lot of tech. So thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Now, as we get going here with these pictures, as you can see, in normal lighting, this is inside a grocery store where lighting is great. You guys can see it performs pretty okay. You know, like it's not too bad. Colors are pretty sharp, details there. Like, you can pretty much depict everything, and it's pretty hard to see anything that's really wrong, right? Overall, great picture in daylight, in sunlight, right? In normal shooting conditions. When the sun starts to set though, and it starts to get darker, you could just see it goes from bad to worse to just straight up unusable in some scenarios. Take a look at this last picture and look at these videos. Oof, cannot recommend, deal breaker for me. So this is the front-facing camera. It's nighttime pretty much. Street lights are on. It is about 8 p.m. or almost 8 p.m. and you can definitely see that the sensor is just not very good on the front-facing camera on this. Now this is only 1080p 30 frames per second. There's no 60 frame feature on the front-facing camera, so it looks like overall it's a big L on the camera portion of this. And this is where they save the money, guys, right here. Take a look. Now on the rear facing camera, I mean, it just, like, it's so unusable that it sucks, you know? It looks like this might be the same camera that was like, or the same sensor that was like on the iPhone 8. Like, it's just not very good. It's unusable in my opinion, and you can tell the difference in sensors, especially when you put them side by side like this to the iPhone 13 mini. So, I mean, if camera's not really a big thing for you, or you're not really a night person, then this might be the camera for you. But if it is important to you, you're gonna have to take a strong pass on this one. The battery life, surprisingly, was actually not too bad. It was about 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time, which, not bad. I mean, kind of expected for it to not be that bad, especially considering it's just a full HD panel. And it's a smaller display too. But I was actually kind of impressed by the battery life, even though it got a lot of bad reviews and a lot of bad rap. Here I'm going to post the actual battery statistics that I got on a full day's use. Now here's the strongest suit for the phone. Performance. There's absolutely no lag at all, although the display could be a little bit better. And you guys will take a look at this section when I talk about the display. The performance is actually really good. It was snappy, it could game. I mean, if you wanted to play any type of game, usually the games that I like to play are shooters on mobile devices, so I like to play PUBG. It worked great. It was flawless. There was no lagging, no stuttering, which is expected. I mean, it's got an A15 Bionic, so performance and longevity are definitely there. I mean, this is definitely a phone that's gonna last you 3, 4, 5 years very easily. So I mean, if you're buying this for maybe somebody who's older, who wants an iPhone, wants the iOS experience, doesn't really care about taking pictures, doesn't really care about any of that other stuff, they just want a long-lasting iOS device, then performance is there, and performance is going to be there for years to come. It's the thing that I think holds it back is just the display size. And I guess jumping right into the display now, you guys will see here in my tests, it's just, the colors are not bad, they're not terrible. They do their best. I mean, it's a smaller display, so the higher resolution isn't as impactful. But where you really start to see it lag behind is when you start to try and try to go from app to app. you'll see that the display, the refresh rate, even though it's not a 120 hertz display, you'll definitely notice the difference when you compare this to like the iPhone 13 mini. If you put these side by side, even though they're both 60 hertz panels, this is obviously a superior panel. And you'll see that it feels, even though that this is very snappy and very fast, I mean, it's got an A15 Bionic, you'll see that it actually feels slower than this, even though their processing speeds are exactly the same. And I'm not even talking about games or any of that stuff. I'm talking about day-to-day stuff. Going to your email, responding to text messages, that sort of thing, checking Twitter. You definitely notice a difference. Not only that, the other thing that I noticed with the display is the design. You know, that squared off 4.7-inch display compared to the smaller form factor in the iPhone 13 mini, but bigger display, 5.4-inch. This was much more enjoyable to look at whenever I was, watching videos, watching Twitch, YouTube, that sort of stuff, and even on day-to-day tasks. Texting, this just feels snappy. This is a 60 hertz panel, but it does not feel like a 60 hertz panel at all. So I get it, they gotta cut somewhere, but when you're cutting into the display size, that's when it starts to hurt. And I didn't think it bugged me that much, but once you're used to bigger phones, bigger displays, not even bigger phones, bigger displays, then it really just kind of hurts. It's just like, man, almost a deal breaker. The thing that was the biggest deal breaker for me though was obviously the camera. I mean, you guys saw the results, they are just bad. But overall performance and the display, performance is good, display not so good. Alright guys, so this is the speaker test. We're gonna go ahead and start with the iPhone SE. Turn it up. Okay, let's do the iPhone 13 mini. So I definitely think that they're both pretty loud. Like the iPhone SE speaker is not too bad, but the iPhone mini is definitely louder in person, and it's clear. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it just sounds a lot more crisp, a lot better. And I don't know. Overall, I think I like the iPhone 13 mini speakers a lot better. But let me know what you guys think. Now, in regards to the build quality of this phone, it's great. It's got a glass back, rails on the sides are aluminum. It feels good, it's nice. One camera, and we're using old sensors. This is like a terrible camera. The display, come on, you're using panels that you used to use 5 years ago. Like literally 5 years ago. The fingerprint ID, the Touch ID, it works flawless. It works like literally 100% of the time. That's one thing that I like, but you have side mounted ones now. How about a side mounted one and a full display? Doesn't have to be full, quality or full 120 hertz or anything like that, but how about just the full display? It's time to retire the small screen. Definitely is. Build quality, just because we're reusing the same model that we've been using for years now, I'm gonna have to give it an F, man, a fail. Because this is no longer an acceptable build quality. So, yeah, does it look good? It looks nice. The glass feels good. The metal on the sides look great. But this is outdated. Come on, guys. Come on. Okay, so we covered pretty much the meaty, right? So, camera quality, big thumbs down, right? Battery life, okay, I'll give it a thumbs up, you know, especially considering the size and it being a budget phone. Performance, definitely a thumbs up. Display sucks. The speakers are not very good. And the build quality is subpar. And it's very, very subpar. I mean, you only have one camera. The sensor that's being used is obviously like not very good. And they're taking away features that allow you to do something that most people use phones for, which is night mode. Now, when you're looking at a phone, the question that you're asking yourself when it comes to a budget phone, a budget smartphone, and I think the expectation that we can all set for smartphones is, does it deliver the flagship experience? And in this case, absolutely not. This is more of a budget device for, you know, maybe a child, you know, like a kid, a young kid that maybe just wants to get into iOS and they want to experience, you know, what everybody else is using it for, but they're younger. You know, you don't want to spend too much money on them. You know, it's 300 bucks, 400 bucks, 420 or whatever. If you get this on promo, then it's even cheaper, you know, if you get it from like a domestic carrier. So in that regard, you know, if you get a good promo on it, not a bad device. But is this good for the person that's looking for a budget smartphone, that's looking for a flagship experience? And my answer to that is no. Because there are phones out there that deliver at around this price point a flagship experience, and really they skimp out on the things that are not as important. Let me explain. The thing that's holding this back from being a flagship, you know, a flagship smartphone is the screen and the camera. Like, those are, like, if you change those two, this is a powerhouse. This is an iPhone 13 mini. Like, if you change just those two things, then you have an iPhone 13 mini. The problem is this is now $799. This is $599. The Pixel 6. This is, in my opinion, the only budget smartphone that exists right now that is domestically viable. And what I mean by that is, you know, you can use it on your carrier. It's going to support all your carrier network frequencies. You're not going to skimp out on, you know, connectivity. So you can't do like a Chinese smartphone. I get it. I understand that they have some better stuff overseas. But phones that you can actually use 100% to its network capabilities in the United States, the only phone that exists is the Pixel 6. Now, this right here, I think this is what most people want. Most people want a budget phone to experience the flagship, right? Let's take a step back to what OnePlus did when they first started. They delivered something called a flagship killer. Now, the reason it was a flagship killer is because the device you were purchasing was a flagship at a fraction of the price, right? It was $299 or 200 bucks or whatever it was, when the other smartphones that were new, the big Samsungs, the big Apple devices, were $600 and $700 total. This right here is $599. If you catch this on promo, which you could very, very easily do, you could probably get this under 500. Let's say for something. This has 128 gigs. This only has 64 for the 429. 479, you get 128 gigs. So now we're on the same thing. What is this missing from a flagship experience? Realistically, it's only a 90 Hz display. It's only a 90 Hz display, and the battery life is not very good. Those are the only two things, and the 90 Hz, to be honest with you, I can live with because it's not bad. I get it. It's a $500 phone. Camera's great, flagship camera, flagship processor, flagship display size. I mean, we just got to challenge these companies a little bit more. What if they could make this same phone over here into this? Or how about lowering the price of the Mini to something like this? Maybe skimping out on the things that are, you know, not very important, you know? And I don't know. I don't know how Pixel did it. Pixel did a great job. But in regards to the best budget phone of the year, I'm gonna have to say that's a no-go for the iPhone SE. But that's my take. That's my thoughts on the iPhone SE 2022. Would I recommend buying it? Absolutely not. I can't recommend buying it. I'd recommend just saving up your dollars and getting an iPhone 13 mini. This is a freaking powerful phone. And if you save up a little bit more, you get an iPhone 13, you get pretty much almost the phone of the year. Great battery life, like insane. iPhone SE, that's a no from me. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.